What's going on there, folks? Good afternoon. It's the Earthmaster here on this weekend, Saturday, November 19th, 2022. It's about 2:28 p.m. California time. Latest quake out there on the Earthquake 3D globe shows a 1.0, very small microquake coming in to the area of California. Notice a little bit of activity ramping up there just south of California there on that plate boundary. USGS doesn't look like they're showing that 4.1 down here. We'll check out the EMSC model here in just a little bit. They are showing a little bit of activity ramping up into the area of Southern California over the past hour, lighting up a little bit like kind of like a Christmas tree in a way. Getting some movement off of the Elsinore fault system here with a couple small earthquakes just in this area. No major movement for now in that area. Also just to the west of the Salton City area, getting some earthquake activity along a little segment here of the San Jacinto fault zone. There's a couple different segments. That's the Borrego Mountains section. And some activity up here on the North American side of the plate boundary as well overnight. Again, no major movement. In fact, looking at the 2.5 and above, just shows one earthquake down here around the San Bernardino Mountains, a 2.6 that was coming in yesterday. And looks like a couple earthquakes, or at least one here near the Templeton area, 2.8 coming in within the last hour. Now that's along the coastal range over here. Haven't really seen too much activity in recent days in this area. Up into portions of Northern California, a little spotty. Some movement outside of the Lake Tahoe area, just outside of Truckee. A couple very small microquakes. Some of that activity, though, coming in yesterday. Over here, around the Clear Lake volcanic field, very typical movement there around the Cobb Mountain area. That's the Calpine hydrothermal operations there, ongoing with events in that area of the state. Also over here outside of the Blanco fracture zone on the Pacific side of the plate boundary, got a 3.4 coming in. So a little bit of adjustment taking place here. Just outside the Cascadia, we have seen a little bit of movement within this area, the Blanco fracture zone, over the last couple days. This is the last week, actually, 2.5 and above. I had a 3.0, 4.5, and then the most recent quake here this morning, a 3.4 in that mix. Pacific Northwest looks pretty quiet. We've got one earthquake here. Looks like around the Plush, Oregon area, north of Lakeview. It's a very small microquake. That's about it, though. Yellowstone National Park not showing anything. So we're going to double check that, make sure that that is the correct number of quakes. Stand by for a second here. Hopefully we can get this thing on. Let's say you're down. It's pretty possible this site could be down. It's the isthisthingon.org. It's the normal Yellowstone stations that I use. Let me double check here, make sure. Looks like they are down and not operationable. So we need to go to the basically the University of Utah here and get the most recent information. Let me see if I can find that here without taking up too much time. Here we go. See if we can get this to come in. Wow, okay, so that's not working. Oh, there we go. A little on the weird side. Let me go back to Yellowstone and see if that's working. Huh. Interesting there. Okay, anyway. All right, here we go. Let's check out the activity on the map monitoring. We're going to go over here to these seismograph stations and go up here to Wyoming and see what we have. We can kind of manually check all these stations here, but what I'm kind of interested in is up here just on the northwest corner of the park. And doesn't look like there's a whole lot of activity according to this map here. A couple small microquakes, so no unusual activity to take note of there across the area of that region. I'll go ahead and check one more down here south. About the same. Not a whole lot going on there across Yellowstone National Park. So I'm not for sure what's going on with the other overview of Yellowstone National Park, but they're not working. kind of off the air right now, offline. All right, what else we got here? Texas, I'm seeing a 4.0 kicking up overnight, about 2 o'clock in the morning. This area has been hit with a bunch of earthquake activity here over the past week, and literally over the past few months or so, and probably add on top of that past couple years. This 4.0 struck within this region of the larger earthquake. 5.3, it's been, 5.4 I should say. Almost right on top of it. And of course, if you want to look out here real quick, we can take a gander. See, my gander. Pop that word in there. Take a gander. Sometimes I use that word. Some wastewater injection ponds out here with a massive amount of oil pumping operations and wastewater injection disposal wells out here across the area of Texas. So that's pretty active out there, it looks like. All right, let's go back here. Oklahoma got some movement kicking off there as well. A couple of small microquakes in the region, no major swarming. Puerto Rico area looks about the same as it did yesterday. A couple scattered earthquakes around the Puerto Rico mainland here and also up around the Puerto Rico Trench. No unusual activity to note there currently. A 4.1 off the coast of, actually it looks like it's inland here into Panama. That one coming in yesterday, kind of late in the day. I want to see what else EMSC may be reporting here. See, there's that 4.1 down into the Gulf of California, it looks like. It's going to be this quake right here. Far as the Middle America Trench, not a whole lot going on. Most of the activity is down there around Panama and the Costa Rica area today. A couple 2s and 3s, including that 4.1. Down in the South America region, notice quite a bit of swarming kicking back up here across this region of South America, and that's let's see what we got for the USGS model. And a couple quakes being reported, it looks like, overnight and also this morning. The latest one of 4.2 into the Bolivia area, it looks like, but pretty far down there, actually just outside of Bolivia. Looks like that's within the Chile region. 141 kilometers deep for that earthquake into the Peru-Chile Trench. And some other 4s outside of Santiago last night. So kind of watching that region pretty closely. Down here in the South Sandwich Trench, we've got a pair of 5s, one on top of the other. Kicking off earlier this morning time frame. 5.3 and a 5.1 down at the southern end of the South Sandwich Trench. And also over here, across the area of Africa, well south of South Africa region, we've seen that divergent boundary earthquake come in last night, a 5.5. Looks like there's a little bit of adjustment going on down here across the plates. Let's see what we got for New Zealand, Kermadec Trench area. Only shows one earthquake, a 4.4 at 585 kilometers deep. It's pretty deep down there. Let's see what we got for the the region here. Couple earthquakes being reported around the North Island, New Zealand, there from the GeoNet servers. Looks like a couple 3s kicking off there. These other earthquakes, looks like a 5.3 and a couple other 4s. Trying to think if that's been over 24 hours or not. It's very possible that it could have been. Let me check out the EMSC map here real quick and see what we have for this area. Sometimes a globe there will show some older earthquakes, and it kind of looks like, most of the activity around the North Island, just a bunch of 3s for now. There's that one 4.1 listed up there along the Kermadec Trench. Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, all pretty quiet right now. Across the Java Trench, we did see some further activity with a 5.0 coming in about 10 o'clock this morning time frame, 76 kilometers deep. And outside of Manila, we seen this earthquake yesterday, 5.1. In the Philippines, one area up here off the coast of Japan into the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench is showing a little bit of heightened earthquake activity. This is kind of our watch zone potentially for the next mega quake. And the reason why I say that is because this area does see quite a bit of slip rate, some high slip rate in this region, meaning a lot of stress being built up in a short amount of time. In fact, there really hasn't been any major earthquake on this section of the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench in a little while. So that's kind of why I'm saying there's probably enough stress built up here in this area for a good-sized earthquake. So we've been kind of watching that for a little while. But the latest quake shows a 4.3. Go back here real quick. A 4.3 down here. 143 kilometers deep off the coast of Russia, but into the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. And also seen a 5.1 a little bit further up north early this morning as well. 23 kilometers deep. So overall, seismic activity kind of on the increase around this area, so watch that pretty closely. Across China, the Middle East area, some of these earthquakes here from yesterday. Nothing really new popping off. One earthquake off the Cyprus area, it looks like, a 4.2 coming in late last night. And that's about it for newer activity. Not a whole lot of new movement throughout that area today. And looking at the EMSC globe, though, looks like there's some twos, some more recent twos out here around the plate boundary. Maybe a couple other smaller quakes off the coast of Morocco there. But no major earthquake swarms noted across the area. Into the Indonesia islands here, though, we only seen one earthquake, right? That's going to be that 4.9 showing up on the USGS globe, or USGS map, I should say. But there's a lot more activity. Look at all that. Lots of threes and lots of twos being clustered up here across this region. Looks like there's a 4.5 in there as well along the Philippine Trench. I don't believe... Yeah, it's missing. 4.5 is missing off of the USGS model here, and that's a pretty recent earthquake and not showing up here on the USGS map, but that's definitely above the 4.0 threshold, so it should be listed. So either way, a bunch of cluster of activity here across the region. Heightened movement for sure. Alaska area, what do we got up here? Outside of Canada, it looks like a 4.1 coming in, somewhat of a recent earthquake. Let's go ahead and check that out. Wow, USGS has it up there around the Beaufort Sea. Well off the coast, 11 kilometers deep. Seen a little bit of movement up here to the north. We normally don't see a whole lot of activity up here across this region, but over the last 24 hours, had at least two. 4.5 over here around the sea, Beaufort Sea, and also around the Baffin Bay. 4.5. There's a little bit of adjustment going on up there as well. Alaska, watching this region right here. A little bit of swarming yesterday and overnight. Couple threes just prior to the subduction zone. That's an area that hasn't really seen anything over the last couple months as far as 4.5 and above goes. Just some small microquakes. Could be getting ready to pop off of 5 or so. Across the Cook Inlet area up through Denali, things still heightened today, including that swarming just south of Fairbanks. Looks like most of the activity from yesterday, we did have a 2.6 overnight in that cluster of earthquakes. Just kind of looks like it's migrating away from the main group here. A little uncertain as to what's out here. To me, it just kind of looks like a flat plane. But then again, it's some type of butte, I guess. I would have to pull up Google Earth to see the elevation on here. But this could be some raised terrain out here. Not for sure about volcanic activity within this region, but we'll watch that. Looks like a little butte right here. Let's see what else we have here real quick. The big island of Hawaii. I know it's kind of an odd update, kind of early, kind of late. We'll get in a little bit later update tonight as well. I had to restart the stream earlier this morning. It went down surprisingly. I'm not for sure why, because it's really not windy. Just one of those things. It just keeps continuing to happen. 2.1 near Volcano, Hawaii. That's up around the Kilauea Volcano area. Not for sure what's going on here with the little quarry blast. Well, actually, it says other event, a 2.5. And then some activity up here as well. Not for sure what those are. It has been reviewed. Let's go ahead and check out the hazard notification system here on Kilauea Volcano, because that's a little bit of interesting development there with the maybe explosions, I guess. We'll see. Latest activity looks like the summit eruption, the Kilauea volcano within the crater continues and has been confined to the crater. Let's see. Eruption of lava within the western vent into the active lava lake and onto the crater floor continued. I'm not seeing anything about these explosions or other events as far as 2.5 goes. Looks like low rates of ground deformation and seismicity continue along both of the east rift zone and the southwest rift zone. So no major... I don't see anything major different on that Kilauea volcano as to what what would explain these odd 2.5s, 12 kilometers deep. So whatever it is, it's not taking place at the surface. This one up here, a little bit more shallower, but it's got other event, 5.3 kilometers deep for that as well. Well, what is it? What's the other event? What's going on here? Maybe we'll check in tomorrow's update on the hazard notification system. Hopefully they come out with a maybe the next explanation as to what's going on. Okay, Mauna Loa, not a whole lot going on there as far as earthquake activity, at least on the map. Let's see what they state here on the latest updated info chart here from this morning. Mauna Loa currently not erupting. No signs of an eruption at this time. Looks like 25 small magnitude earthquakes below 3.0. Occurred 2 to 3 miles below the caldera and about 4 to 5 miles beneath the upper elevation northwest flank of Mauna Loa. Both of these regions have historically been seismically active during periods of unrest. But see, where's the 25 earthquakes? They're not up there. So that's kind of why I like to go to these, not only the hazard notification system here, but also the you can go check out these seismograph stations for yourself and see what's going on. I try not to just depend on what the USGS is stating on their little earthquake map. Always go to these seismograph stations and just double check to make sure that the correct info is being put out here. Past 12 hours, obviously, a lot more than the 2 small little earthquakes they showed on the USGS map. So this is raw data, raw seismogram coming from the Mauna Loa area. And definitely quite a bit of earthquake activity. No major uptick. It's actually been this way for a little while. Still kind of watching it, seeing what happens, right? Definitely a little bit of seismic activity been ongoing there since about September. So we'll see how it plays out. Let's see, what else? Did we miss anything? I think that's about it. Let's see. Again, looking on the globe, we can kind of see where all of our cluster of quakes are today, and the Java Trench here definitely needs to be on watch here with all this movement, not only with that 6.9 here a day or so ago, but still continued increasing activity regionally as a whole around the Java Trench and the Indonesia Islands area. Could be brewing something up pretty nicely. Let's see, South America region do have some earthquake activity, a couple 3s and 2s. Maybe another area to watch as well. There's that 4.1. That is definitely on the plate boundary here in the Gulf of California. Alrighty, let's see, solar weather chart. Let me go over here real quick and check. We had, definitely had a little bit of activity last night. An M flare kicked off here. An M1.4, it looks like. Somewhat of a moderate flare, and that was from this departing sunspot, 3150. Pretty complex magnetic field here. Different instabilities within its structure. Although right now it kind of looks like it is dying off just a little bit here. And that is, again, facing away from Earth. This guy looks like it's starting to develop pretty rapidly. And this one will be turning into view. That's going to be, well, it's already in view, but it's going to be facing Earth here pretty soon. 3147 harbors a pretty complex magnetic field. It's not set up yet. Just shows a alpha magnetic class. But I think the chances there of seeing a flare are increasing pretty rapidly. for this specific sunspot. Overall threat looks like 70% chance of a C flare, and they'll probably update this tonight or maybe tomorrow once they get a look at that different sunspot region. M flare at 15%, X flare around 1%, and we do well, I can't say expect, but these guys are forecasting a little bit of storming conditions here over the next couple nights from the coronal hole that has been facing us. It's going to be number 46. Latest imagery here shows it a little bit further towards the western section of the sun, and that solar wind stream flowing from this gigantic coronal hole could give us some elevated storming conditions there at the higher latitudes. But as I said it a couple days ago, I think the position here is a little bit too south from the Earth plane area, and that's I don't make these forecasts. I kind of just look at these and make my own assumption. But these guys are stating that there's at least a chance 4 to 5 elevated KP index here over the next couple nights, and right now it doesn't look like it's happening. But again, we'll watch it, and if anything changes, we'll definitely report it in tonight's update. But definitely keep an eye on this one right here, 3147. Looking a little bit more complex there. We'll watch it pretty closely. All right, folks, have a good day. Have a good weekend. We'll definitely catch you guys a little bit later on tonight. I got, I got a lot of schoolwork to do. Almost overwhelmed. Taking 4 classes here in college, and we got quite a bit of stuff I like. Weather for one, mastering the universe, geography, and natural hazards and disasters. So I got my plate full with a bunch of info right now in classes and lectures and essays, all that good stuff. But it's definitely good for the brain, good for the mind, keep it refreshed, and also it's stuff that I like to learn about, but it's just sometimes can be a little bit overwhelming taking that many classes here. But either way, going to get caught up here right now, and we'll catch you guys back a little bit later on tonight with the update video. Stay safe out there, folks. We'll catch you guys later.